Star Trek Picard Season 3 will be tied into Star Trek Deep Space Nine. In fact, and I quote, huge events from the story of DS9 will play a big part in the plot of Picard Season 3. Obviously we've got Mr Worf, played by the fantastic Michale Dorn, back. What else could be coming to the show? Deep Space Nine explored a lot of storylines and topics in its 7-season run. Therefore, there will be a lot to work with when it comes to connecting a story to Picard. Welcome to Trek Central, I'm your host, Captain Jack. Now, before we warp into this video, as always, if you want to keep up to date with the latest Star Trek news, lore, and more, make sure to hit that subscribe button to never miss a video from the team here at Trek Central. Anyway, let's get straight into the news. Engage. How will Deep Space Nine tie into Star Trek Picard Season 3? Well, there are a few ways this could be done. Naturally, the two obvious options are character cameos or the appearance of DS9 itself. While I don't personally imagine we'll be going to Deep Space Nine, as that would require a considerable amount of CGI budget, it is possible for other characters that could show up or be referenced. We've already got Michale Dorn back as Worf, as I said earlier, and while he is a TNG veteran, he is also from Deep Space Nine as well. Picard Season 3 has begun its press rollout earlier this month. As such, we're slowly learning more about the new season. Tony Matalas, the showrunner for Season 3, spoke to Den of Geek about the upcoming season. While talking about Deep Space Nine's huge story and its huge events, Matalas also said the following. It's a continuation of Voyager 2, of course, with 7 of 9 in our show. If you're going to be in this time period, there's such a rich opportunity to honour what came before. Terry is saying what Star Trek fans have wanted for some time. We're playing in this sandbox. All of these characters from Deep Space Nine and Star Trek Voyager are still active and running around in this timeline. Therefore, we should be working with them, or at least hearing about them in some capacity. Ultimately, it gives us a chance to honour them properly after the original shows have ended. Character cameo-wise, we could see individuals such as Colonel Kira. She recently appeared in the animated series of Star Trek Lower Decks, with actress Nana Visitor officially voicing the character. However, I'd love to see Chief Miles O'Brien in a live-action series. Cole Meany is a fantastic actor who deserves to be back in Star Trek sometime soon. Of course, many will ask for Sisko to return. Personally, I don't see that happening for Star Trek Picard. It's wishful thinking ultimately. The other main options are known storylines. Looking at this, we've got a few options to explore, so let's go. Starting with Next Generation may have introduced the Maquis, however Deep Space Nine was the series to amplify the story of the Resistance group more. This group consists of disgruntled Federation-born colonists, and also discounted Starfleet officers such as Lieutenant Commander Calvin Hudson, or Cal as I like the name. The group actively fought against the occupation of their homes in the demilitarized zone. Elements of the story around the Maquis also stretched into Star Trek Voyager. Commander Chakotay eventually became the first officer of the USS Voyager under Captain Catherine Janeway. Now ultimately, Starfleet Command considered members of the Maquis as traitors, while the Cardassian Union considered the Maquis as terrorists. DS9 explored the Maquis in great detail and in a variety of ways, which was really cool. However, before the colonists could formally declare their succession from the Federation as an independent state, they were defeated by the Dominion, or rather slaughtered. The Cardassians' new overlords used their powerful army of Jem'Hadar soldiers and starships to crush the remainder of the Maquis' forces, therefore ending the conflict in the demilitarized zone. But how could this faction play into Star Trek Picard Season 3? Some have theorized that Season 3's new villain of Vadic, or Captain Vidic, however you want to pronounce it, played by Amanda Plummer, has seen her origins in the Maquis. However, the only issue with this theory comes with Jean-Luc Picard. The trailers of the 3rd season make it clear that Vidic, I'm gonna get this pronunciation wrong so many times, Vadic, knows Picard somewhat, and appears to be targeting him specifically. Therefore, one would expect she has some sort of acquaintance with him or grievance with him. It is still possible that the Maquis could tie into Picard Season 3, especially when looking at Deep Space Nine's overarching stories. Let's also not forget Michael Eddington's storyline, which dealt with the Maquis in Star Trek, arguably some of the best storytelling in Star Trek as a whole, especially Sisko's outrage at Eddington betraying his uniform. Watch this.
To satisfy a personal vendetta?
You betrayed your uniform!
And you're betraying yours, right now! The sad part is you don't even realize it. I feel sorry for you, Captain.
Major, shut that thing off! Commander Worf, prepare to launch torpedoes!
Also, one aspect that could be explored, what about a Maquis character who we've not seen in quite some time? That would be Ensign Ro, wouldn't it? We've not heard anything from her since she left the Next Generation. Originally she was meant to be in Deep Space Nine, but that never happened as Michelle Forbes didn't want to be typecast for Star Trek. Might we see her return to Star Trek in Picard Season 3? We'll have more on this later in January, so stay tuned. The centerpiece of Deep Space Nine was the story around the Dominion and the subsequent war with the faction. This storyline stretched over multiple seasons and was built from the very start. It was fought from 2373 to 2375, and would change Starfleet and its allies in many different ways. The aftermath of the war would stretch into Starfleet's legacy right up until Star Trek Picard Season 1, especially when we see the organisation take a more militaristic and defensive approach. One theory about Captain Vadic right now is her species and origins. While we mentioned it could be the Maquis, some believe it might be related to other factions that played a part in the Dominion War. This could be anyone from the Romulans to the Bajorans to even the Sona. That species was seen in Star Trek Insurrection, by the way. However, when we look at the story of Deep Space Nine, it's very possible that the Dominion War could connect with Picard Season 3. Worf as a character is a veteran of the war. He fought many battles with his Klingon brothers, such as Chancellor Martok, and under Starfleet as well. Worf's storyline may fold over with DS9 content and could be explored through Picard Season 3. The aftermath of the war still stretches around the Star Trek galaxy as we mentioned. We could also explore rogue elements of Founders or the Jem'Hadar. That'd be pretty cool. When the creators hint at huge events from the storyline of Deep Space Nine, it's hard to ignore the Dominion War. However, there are also so many unique story aspects of the war itself. As I said, it stretched multiple seasons. Therefore, where do you begin to guess about this event? Multiple battles and storylines happened under the banner of the Dominion War, but when we look at it, there's been little from the Founders or Jem'Hadar since they were defeated. It's possible this could be explored again, but since Odo returned to the Great Link, it's unlikely the warmongering species would try anything like this again. Though there was a storyline in Star Trek Online, the MMO video game, which dealt with the return of a lost Jem'Hadar fleet that came forth and retook Deep Space Nine as they originally intended. If you remember the episode, by the way, comment it down below as I'll be impressed. While we touched on the significant story plots of Deep Space Nine, we've got to mention the series' themes. DS9 is widely regarded as one of the best Star Trek shows to touch on the topics of religious beliefs, institutional power structures, foreign policy, and even burial rites. Not to mention archaeology and ultimately warfare. The exploration of a Bajoran religion and its struggle with the Federation's view of science and technology was some fantastic material in the series' first few seasons. However, even when the series ventured into the Dominion War era of its storytelling, we were gifted with some fantastic performances. I'll never forget Avery Brooker's acting throughout the entire episode of In a Pale Moonlight. One of the most prominent aspects of Deep Space Nine as a series is its exploration of multiculturalism. This is explored not only via the Federation, the Bajoran people, and also for Ferengi. However, we also got to see the Cardassians, giving us multiple points of view on the occupation of Bajor. Now, something that generated flack for the series was its exploration, or rather, problematicizing of the Federation. That is seen in the episodes that dealt with the Maquis. As Sisko said, being a saint in paradise is easier when you're in paradise, essentially. You look at the door and you see Earth, it's paradise. It's not as easy for the people out there in the demilitarized zone. And this was especially true for the Federation when they were dealing with the Maquis. The Federation is always treated as this excellent force in the Star Trek universe that can do no wrong, most of the time. Modern Star Trek, such as Picard Season 1, has put a light on the uglier aspects of the giant organization. This makes sense. No one is perfect, as Star Trek teaches us.
You look out the window of Starfleet headquarters and you see paradise. Well, it's easy to be a saint in paradise, but the Maquis do not live in paradise.
Now ultimately, there are multiple ways that Deep Space Nine can tie into the upcoming season of Star Trek Picard. With less than 60 days to go until we watch Season 3, we've got a lot to explore. Star Trek Picard Season 3 officially kicks off on February 16th, 2023. As such, you know we'll be hunting for more information in the meantime, so stay tuned. But what do you think of our Star Trek theories? I'd love to know your thoughts, so get commenting down below. Like always, if you want to keep up to date on the latest Star Trek news, lore and more, make sure to hit that subscribe button to never miss a video from the team here at Trek Central. You can also follow us on social media or join our community Discord server. But for now, I've been Captain Jack, thank you so much for watching, and I can't wait to chat more about Picard Season 3 in 2023. Live long and prosper, my friends. Goodbye.